60 Minutes Overtime.
Hi.
Hi, Maisie.
Hi.
This week on 60 Minutes, we're doing a story that we call The Price of Life. It's a fascinating tale of cutting-edge, high-technology drugs that are able to repair or replace defective genes. These are drugs that can save the lives of children, and yet we discovered in our reporting that there are insurance plans who refuse to pay for them. And we also wondered what drug company could possibly charge $3.2 million, for example, for a single dose. This kind of journalism has never been more important because in this internet age we live in, we're seeing information on TikTok, we're seeing information bounce around on social media that is unvetted, and in many cases the algorithms that choose these things for us are choosing things for outrage. Imagine how outrageous it is that an insurance company did not provide this life-saving treatment for this child. Imagine how outrageous it is that a drug company would charge $3 million for a single dose of a drug. That's where reporting comes in. That's where, at 60 Minutes and other journalism organizations, we start making phone calls. We start meeting people. We get on airplanes to meet with people and find out what's actually happening.
Got it? Yep.
The first person you meet in our story is a mom, C.G. Green. She had a daughter in 2017 who was ultimately diagnosed with SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, which is often fatal by the age of 2.
And she left with the blood, and she came back and she goes, "You heard me when I said we're testing for SMA." And I said, "Yes, I heard." And she goes, "Do you know what that is?" And I go, "No." She put her hand out. And I said, "Please don't touch me. Please don't touch me," because I knew everything I had been feeling.
In 2019, a new genetic therapy called Zolgensma was approved by the FDA, and it would save C.G. Green's daughter, Maisie, but it was $2.1 million for the dose. We wanted to speak with one of the foremost experts in the country on medical finance, and we found Jonathan Gruber. He is the chair of the Department of Economics at MIT, and he was also one of the architects of the Affordable Care Act.
If you want these companies to take risks and develop the kind of new life-saving drugs they're developing, they need to get a reward for doing so.
There are at least 300 similar genetic therapies that are in clinical trials for a variety of illnesses, including some cancers and Parkinson's disease, things that would affect millions of people, not thousands.
I liken it to a coming tsunami, which is basically going to overwhelm the employer-sponsored insurance system.
This is one kit.
You can imagine how long it took us to find a pharmaceutical company that was willing to sit down with 60 Minutes and explain why it's charging millions of dollars for a drug. One of the people we spoke to is Doug Ingram. He's the CEO of Sarepta Therapeutics. They had created a drug that is therapeutic in the case of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. People hear $3.2 million for your drug, and they think greed.
Here's what they should think. So first of all, if the question is this the right price or only price, and can society afford this, you're going to hear me say that it absolutely is, and society absolutely can afford it, and we'll go into that. If you're asking me whether this is the sort of price that we should be happy with and satisfied in the long term with gene therapies and genetic medicine, I'm going to tell you absolutely not.
What we discovered is it took 18 years to develop this drug. They had to create a manufacturing facility. And then there's also the issue of raising money to do this research. Sarepta Therapeutics told us that it took $3 billion to develop this drug. For me, the greatest thing about this story is how hopeful it is, How amazing that these drugs are able to treat diseases that were untreatable before, almost always a death sentence for these children. And embodying that idea in our story was Maisie. The impairment suffered before the drug cannot be reversed. Maisie doesn't walk, but she's making straight A's in school. I'm so glad to meet you.
You say nice to meet you?
Nice to meet you.
Your own miracle.
My very own miracle.
A young girl who was not expected to live, who was 6 years old at the point that we met her, and who today is 8 years old. And that is our process. We spoke with dozens and dozens of people over months and months to convince these people that we're going to tell the story fully, fairly, and factually, to bring old-fashioned shoe leather journalism to this digital age and make sure that we're able to tell the story in a way that it could do some good in the world, so that the facts underlie the decisions that get made to solve these kinds of problems.